Hello, friends. So already a lot of glitches today. I didn't realize what day it was, and I thought I had set this inaugural book club stream to be broadcast today. Apparently, I didn't. I selected next Friday, but I wanted it to start today. So I've been getting ready, and I've got my books here, and I took a shower, and all the things I do for my Friday live streams. And then I logged into StreamYard, right, to get that all set up. And it has like a timer that it shows you. And I look up their timer a little while ago to see how much time I had before I needed to click the go live button. And it said August 1st. And I thought, well, I don't want to wait until next Friday. I want to do it today because I want to see how it goes. And I want to see if I have enough to talk about. I mean, I know I have enough to talk about, just having a lot of books that I love. So we're going to do it today. So if you missed this live, sorry. Thanks in advance for watching it as part of the rewatch crew. But I'm hoping some of you will pop in and interact with me, and we can talk about your favorite books as well. And that's what I'm going to do. The book club is going to kind of be about my favorite books with a goal of getting to a point where there's enough interest that maybe a group of us can select a book that we haven't read before. I mean, I guess it could be a book that one of us has read before, but most of us haven't read it. And we can commit to reading it and then meeting back here once a month or so to talk about what we're getting out of the book and any exciting or interesting or weird parts of it that we want to share. So today is just going to be an overview of my history with books, my love of reading. And I will say I grew up in a very dysfunctional home, very abusive, chemically dependent parents. My dad was in and out of jail a lot and just disappeared a lot, and I loved him because I was a kid, and I don't guess when you're a kid you know any better, but I left home at 17, if that tells you anything, because it just was to a point that I refused to tolerate it anymore, which is neither here nor there. But I did want to say that my mother, so early on, I don't guess it was as bad as it got over time. My mother taught me to read by the time I was 4. So I don't even remember a life without books and reading. And they've gotten me through some stressful times. Reading is a great escape. It's therapy. It's a sleep aid a lot of times. I've come to enjoy audiobooks a lot more over the years. I still prefer a real life, in your hands, material, tactile experience by having a real book. But I have a Kindle. Well, I don't have a Kindle now because I gave my Kindle to the grandkids. But I have Kindle, the Kindle app on my phone, on the computer, and now on the laptop. And I've got lots and lots of digital books. There are some books that I haven't even found, like real hard copy books or paperback books of them. So I don't know if they're only digital. I would imagine that's a nice cost-effective way for a new author to get his books out there, is just to upload them and let people read it on a device. So I've got a stack of books here. I don't know if you can you see all those books stacked up there? And I'm not going to talk at length about any of them, but they're just books that, have been part of my reading journey. Some of them I've read recently. Some of them I can't even remember how long ago I might have read them. But when I was going through books to have some things to share with you today, they jumped out at me. Now, right now, we're in desperate need of some new bookshelves. We had a couple of bookshelves, and some of the shelves got real saggy. And so at some point, I want to invest in a nice, sturdy set of bookshelves to get all of my books back on the shelf. They're almost an art. Books are almost art to me. This seeing the books. And I've certainly been known to buy a book just because it had a really interesting cover. The cover art was really neat. Uh, so I've got some pretty books. We've got a small collection, maybe bigger than small, of children's books so that we've got books around for the grandkids. We gift books to the grandkids for Christmas and birthdays and things like that because I want to encourage them to read. Uh, there are a lot of benefits to reading beyond just getting a story. So I want to share that with you. So we will start with, I forgot to bring, well, some of the books are in boxes right now because of those shelves that got saggy and I didn't think they were going to hold the books very long. And I haven't gone through all of those boxes, but that just means I'll have some other things that I can share with you in future live streams. So, oh, let me get to my comments. I always forget to go to the comments. Erica and Sue, thank y'all for stopping in. I'm going to start off with what has been and will likely continue to be my favorite book. I usually reread it every 10 or 12 years. I was introduced to this book in high school, I think my junior year, because back in the day, the school year was made up of quarters. And so for each quarter, you could select, a particular class. Obviously, you had to take a math and you had to take a literature or an English class. What else did you have to take? A science class, I think. But I had been in that advanced placement classes for a long time, even, before I got to high school. And so pretty much everything I got to take was elective. Like I had run out of math courses to take by the time I was a junior, which is only bad because that meant the only thing left to take was calculus, which I don't even remember anything about it. I did okay in it. I think math is a use it or lose it skill. But for the English that I took, I could pretty much choose whatever I wanted to choose. So for one of the quarters, I selected science fiction literature. And my teacher was Miss Miller, Mueller. I don't remember her first name. And she was she was outgoing, but she was very librarian looking and low key, not particularly loud or enthusiastic, even though it was obvious that she loved the books that we had to choose from for that quarter. So the book I chose was A Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. And it's not for everybody. I know that. And it's got some kind of liberal concepts in it that, maybe wouldn't speak to everyone. I think the time I read it, again, this was around the time I left home. So I was really hungry for finding my place and figuring out how things were supposed to work and wanting a purpose. And this book sort of addressed those things for me. So the stream isn't going to necessarily be at this point about discussing the books themselves, like going over the story of the books or doing book reports or synopsis of the books. But it will be just for me initially to share why some of the books that are my favorites and what they represent for me as far as where I was in my life, in my journey on becoming who I am, who I was supposed to be. And Erica says, flunked second semester general math, took algebra and got A's. Yeah, again, by the time I was like in the 8th grade, I'd already taken algebra 2. Shout out to my math teacher there, Sharon Wilhelm, who is on Facebook. She's a friend of mine on Facebook. And what I loved about her, I know this is how this stream is going to go because these books are going to remind me of specific times. And that's going to it's just going to be inevitable that it's going to lead me down these other roads and tangents to tell you stuff about what was going on in my life at the time. But Ms. Wilhelm in junior high, she didn't just teach us algebra. She taught us how to balance a checkbook, how to write a check. Now, those things aren't even needed anymore because I don't know if anybody uses checks or checkbooks anymore. We have a checking account, but everything we pay bills digitally. And, if we go out to eat, we use a debit card, or if we've got cash, we'll use cash. And but she taught us life skills. So in addition to teaching us the fundamentals of algebra and how to use formulas, she taught us life. And I appreciated her then for that. I appreciate her still for that. I don't think she's still teaching. I think she has retired from teaching. But this again, these books, a lot of these books represent that era of my life, just coming into my own. Um, on the brink of leaving home and having to really find my way on my own. Now, I say on my own, I had people to help me and support me, and families that let me live with them my junior and senior years of high school. And so there's a lot of good in here. There was a lot of bad that was happening at the time, but the books represent a lot of good for me. So Erica says, funny thing was, it was the same teacher, but very different teaching styles. How interesting. General math, the grades were mostly from homework and timed pop quizzes. A timer is my kryptonite. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. At the time, I didn't really have to work very hard. It really came to me very naturally. Um, I play piano. I may have shared with you before that there's a very strong connection between piano and math. And music is math. Notes are math, intervals are math, tones are math, frequencies are math. And I think that if you master one or at least are proficient at one, you have great odds of being proficient at the other. So I believe wholeheartedly there's a connection between my piano journey and then my ability to do well in math and science. Like science was my favorite. Okay. Science was always my favorite subject. And again, by the time I was like a junior in high school, the only science, well, there was chemistry. So I did take chemistry. And then there was biology too. And there weren't a lot of kids in the biology 2 class because not a lot of kids had already taken enough science to have a spot open that they could take it. I loved it. Miss Boyce was my teacher for biology 1 and biology 2. And she was the most amazing teacher. She made it so much more interesting than it already was for me. I'm sure I speak for most of the other kids that were in my class. And I still have vivid memories of some of the things that we did. And I did well in it because I loved it and because I had a good teacher. And again, because I was at a point then where I had left a very toxic environment and really had the freedom to devote myself to myself, my studies, my grades. And so there's just a lot of good that came out of it. Let's see. Erica says we took free enterprise that taught general things like, oh, that's a thing. So we had home economics that kind of went over some of that stuff, and it just taught you about budgeting and making grocery lists and planning meals and the importance of routine and having schedules to make sure that you accomplished everything you needed to accomplish once you reached adulthood and you had a family to take care of, or you had to juggle work and personal life and still have time for enrichment and, extracurricular opportunities. But free enterprise, what a neat name for that. What a more appropriate name for what it sounds like you're describing. Just life, how to do life, right? How to be a grown up, how to take care of business. So, Robert Heinlein, my favorite book. I have not read a lot of Robert Heinlein. I've read another couple of his stories, but again, this is just my favorite book. I am disappointed every year that goes by that this book has not been turned into a movie. I think it would be an amazing movie. And Robert Heinlein, of course, has other books. Starship Troopers is one that was turned into a movie, and I think it did pretty well at the theater. He's had a couple of other stories or books that were turned into movies, but I just wanted to start with what my favorite book is and why it's my favorite. It just really opened my mind. Again, it had a lot of new to me concepts. It does have some racy stuff in it. So I remember even being surprised at the time that we were allowed to read the book in that class because, again, I was a junior in high school. But that was back before stuff was being banned. You could still read whatever you wanted to read when I was a kid, which is how it should be. Um, but let's move on to another of my favorite authors. I don't read him a lot, and he's really my favorite author for one particular story, but his writing style appeals to me, and he did touch on a lot of concepts that were similar to this particular story, and that is D.H. Lawrence. So I have this wonderful compilation book of D.H. Lawrence stories, and the story that really got me interested in him is The Rocking Horse Winter. And a lot of you may have read that story. If you haven't, please read it. It's very bittersweet, tragic. Uh, it's I think it's a very sad story. And I can only assume that part of why it spoke to me is because I could relate to some of the characters and elements in the story. But it's D.H. Lawrence. He's just a wonderful classic uh, gifted writer, and I encourage you to check him out. And now I want to move to when I was a little girl. So, one of the first books I remember falling in love with, and I think this was in the first or second grade. When I think of this book, I can see the halls of that school. And I used to volunteer in the library. The kids could go and reshelf books and make sure that everything was in the Dewey Decimal System order, and just help with the administrative stuff. So even in elementary school, I loved the library. But this Jenny Linsky, there's a series of books in the Jenny Linsky and the Cat Club, um, written by Esther Averill. And of course, it stars a cat. Let's see, I think there's pictures. Yeah, there's pictures in this book. Let me find you a picture. So it stars a cat. It's just for fun. It's just, um, it's very simple, but it's very sweet. And I don't know what else to tell you about why it appealed to me. It still appeals to me because when I read some of my old childhood favorite books, obviously they take me back to my childhood. And at that point, I'm still young and innocent and not so aware of just how wrong things were in my home life. When you're born into something dysfunctional, I don't think you really realize for a long time that that's not how it's supposed to go. Uh, and so as a little girl, I was very much a bookworm, a very nerdy kid. I was a tomboy, total tomboy. Uh, Hence my love of snakes and spiders and all kinds of creatures. And I spent most of my time outside barefoot. Um, and boys were always my best friends. I didn't feel like, I don't know, I guess because I wasn't as into Barbie dolls, and I liked Barbies and I had Barbies, but my favorite things still were more, running and climbing trees and catching bugs and playing in the creek and stuff that is more typically attributed to masculine or boy energy. Um, so, Jenny Linsky and the Cat Club, the first book I can remember falling in love with. Sci-fi hit and miss in theaters. Yeah. And I haven't been to the movie theater in so long. What was the last sci-fi movie Richard and I were talking about it on the live stream last night. It might be the first Star Wars in this latest batch of J.J. Abrams Star Wars. So The Force Awakens, that had to have been, what, 12 years ago? 10? 12? Oh, yeah. I bet it was. I'll have to look that up. But that might be the last. It might be the last movie I've seen in a movie theater. But when A Stranger in a Strange Land gets made into a movie, I will be there on opening night, and I'll pay whatever I have to pay to see it. And then one of the next books I fell in love with, also around this same time, I think this book, I discovered this book in the third grade. And if you haven't listened to it, I have recorded an audiobook version of this on my channel. It's a 5-part series because each video is about 40 minutes, I think, 40 to 45 minutes long. And my hope was that people might let their little ones listen to the book, because I used to read these books to my kids at night at bedtime. Every night at bedtime, I read to the kids. And I mean, we read Shakespeare. We read, we didn't read Stranger in a Strange Land. We read Jenny Linsky, and we read this book, The Trumpet of the Swan by E.B. White. E.B. White is better known, I think, as the author of Charlotte's Web. I'm sure all of you have heard of that. And as you can see, this poor little book, this book has been through the ringer. This book has been very loved. And this is the book I used to read aloud and record the audio book for my channel. So I'd love for you to check that out and share that if you've got friends with little ones. And then as I got a little bit older, still elementary school, I think. Now I have so many memories of being at the library. I fell in love with Nancy Drew. So I have read every Nancy Drew story. I've had the whole collection of books. You know, as they came out, I would have the new Jenny Linsky book. I still enjoy reading them. This is probably the next thing that I'll record on the channel. I do want to record another children's book on the channel, but I love these stories. In the 70s, there was a Nancy Drew TV season. Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys had a TV series that was great fun. And of course, the Hardy Boys one starred Parker Stevenson and Sean. Oh my gosh, what's his name? What is his name? Who remembers that? Oh my gosh. His brother was on the Partridge Family. I think he's a half brother. David Cassidy, Sean Cassidy. Oh, such a heartthrob. So that made it even more fun to watch the Hardy Boys show. But those are on my list of first books I fell in love with. Somewhere here, I have a copy of one of the Harry the Dirty Dog children's picture books. Because again, we have books around for the grandkids. They're all older enough now that I don't even know that they would like that. But I loved those Harry the Dirty Dog books. And I'll just have to hunt around again to see what I did with the one that we have here. But another of my favorite things is, who remembers these? You guys recognize that? That is a Reader's Digest condensed book. So it's got a lot of novels that have been kind of shortened, condensed to be quicker reads. But I have read so many wonderful books. I don't think I've ever come across a Reader's Digest condensed book that had a title that was a book I had read in its full-length form. But it's so rare, maybe 1 out of 20. So usually they'll have 4 or 5 stories in each compilation. And maybe once or twice ever of the 20 or 30 of these Reader's Digest condensed books I've read, did I ever read a story where I just thought, eh. So all of the other stories, I'm sad for them to end, except that then there's another story to read right after it. So when I go estate sailing, this is something I look for, is these Reader's Digest condensed books. And I've probably got 10 or 12 now, but I'd love to find more of them. So now let's go to what I just finished reading. I've referenced this a few times on live streams, just because when I talk about reading, it's sometimes frustrating that I don't feel like I have the same time available to read. Reading for me needs to be an opportunity for quiet and for uninterrupted focus on the story. And that's really hard to do these days, just because we've got the animals to care for and it's a busy household because of that. When I read at night, it relaxes me to the point that I fall asleep. And that can be really frustrating, because if I really enjoy the story, it's stressful to, kind of, you wake up, you were reading, and then you wake up and then you got to go back and figure what you read last. But that's a benefit of reading, that it really does take away anything and everything that might be in the way of me just relaxing and enjoying the moment. What a beautiful gift. I don't need a sleep aid. I don't need, but again, it's still hard to do that because going to bed even doesn't necessarily mean uninterrupted time. The dogs will need to go out or they hear something, and German Shepherds are probably at the top of the list of most reactive when they hear a noise or, uh, there's car lights that come in the window or something. They got to go check it out. And if they're concerned, they've got to sound the alarm. So, um, the bathroom is where I do a lot of my reading. I always have a book in the bathroom. If I'm going to be in there for a little while, I know you know what I mean, then I crank out a little bit more of the book. But this is the book I just finished. Finally, I think it took me like a year and a half to read it all. It's not that thick. It's, let's see, I can tell you how many pages it is. It is 336 pages. So not really long, but it also took me a while to read it because the beginning of it was very slow for me. It just seemed like it was like you're just reading somebody's, I would say a diary, but it wasn't even a diary that had anything, juicy or intriguing in it. It was just, it's cops, it's police officers, and like, okay, so I stopped by the coffee shop and saw Nunzio and okay, please get to the story. Please get to the story. Tell me this is not 300 plus pages of just these police officers talking about their day. And every now and then, yeah, they arrest somebody that stole you know, a box of crackers from the grocery store, or whatever. I can't think of the specifics. But let me tell you, it was worth sticking with this book because when it gets about a third of the way in, then we meet the villain. Okay. And by then, at this point, all of these police officers have had their moment of reckoning and have to leave the force. Um, but they come back together to take down this villain. And okay, so yeah, I was going to read you. It turned into very much like an action movie kind of a thing. And so toward the end, this is on page 324. This is one of the scenes that again just reminded me that it was so worth sticking with this book. Deadeye was cornered, bullets coming at him from four sides, ripping through the closet door he stood behind. He was low on ammo and couldn't lift his right arm, which had taken two hits from a 44 caliber. There were six shooters closing in, two working pump-action shotguns. He had enough ammo and one good hand left to take out at least two. He took a deep breath and decided to make a rush at the gunman. If Deadeye was going to go down, it wasn't going to be hiding behind an empty second-floor coat closet. He jumped from the door, left hand out, gun held at an angle, facing or firing off as many clips as it carried. He hit one of the shotguns in the chest, sending him over a railing. He swirled and took out a suit rushing from behind him, and then took a hit himself in the right leg, bringing him down to one knee. The four moved in closer, prepared to end a battle and a life. Deadeye looked at them and grunted. "Wouldn't have any bullets you could spare?" he asked. "Just two," the shotgun shouted back, "both of them going into your bleeping head." "Thanks anyway," Deadeye said. And then on page 328, which is the last page of the story, really, well, next to the last, and then it goes to the epilogue. And there's just one little scene where one of the other police that were involved in taking down, again, this is all after they've left the force, but one of the other ones that was there to take down the villain, whose name was Reverend Jim. "Hey, Boomer," Reverend Jim said. "What?" Boomer said without lifting his head. "I don't want to upset you or anything, but there's a knife sticking out of your back." "I needed a place to hang my hat," Boomer told him. "Good thinking," Reverend Jim said. So it just had a great mix of mundane stuff, but a lot of drama. So the story of this villain is, it is vile. It is. I sometimes wonder, people like this, or Stephen King, that can just write such horrid stuff. where do they come up with those ideas? This bad guy, it's a lady. This villain in this story is, I mean, she's just vile. So it was just a great satisfaction that this book that they take down the villain. So I recommend it. I wouldn't have recommended it a year ago when I'm still in the part where I'm thinking, oh my gosh, please tell me there's more than this everyday stuff going on. All right, so now let's move to the book I am reading now. I just started it like 2 days ago, so I'm only on page, what is that, 28. I've only had a couple of times where I could sit down and read it, but this is one of the Jesse Stone novels. I've talked about him before. There's a series of movies starring Tom Selleck as the character Jesse Jones, and I love every one of these Robert Parker Jesse Jones stories. And I've got, I think, a couple of other ones here that I've read. Well, one that I've read, no, I don't know if I brought that one in here. So I try to buy these whenever I can. If I find it on a estate sale, it's definitely coming home with me. But I love to go to half price books and some of the bargain book places and not have to spend, the whole $25 or $30 that you sometimes have to spend on a hardcover book these days. I've got so many books, though, that I've bought over the years that I still haven't read. I will not finish all of the books I own before I leave this world. So if you need a book, stop by. Yeah, they're good. They're easy to read, very relatable characters, very believable storylines. There's always a resolution, even if it's not, even if it didn't go the way everybody might have wanted it to go. The book, they resolve. Everything is resolved at the end of the book, so you don't have to be frustrated because you don't know what happened or, you know. They're all standalone books, so even though the characters are recurring and the settings are recurring, it's a different crime in every book, and it's just, you can just read the one book and never read another one, and you're not missing anything except for the enjoyment of Robert B. Parker's. Now, I say Robert B. Parker's writing style. This is an example. I talked about this the other day. This is Robert B. Parker's like, it's his creation, okay, the Jesse Stone stuff, but he has other authors that write the stories. I don't even know what that's called. And I've never read anything else by this Michael Brandman that wrote this particular Jesse Stone book. But let's see. This is another Robert B. Parker. I don't remember. This is one that now I don't remember for sure if I've read it. So I'm going to have to read through it. But again, it's a Robert B. Parker. And let me see if it's a... it's not a Jesse Stone book, though. But I highly recommend Robert B. Parker if you're looking for a good read. And let's see what else I've got here. I tend to read most often thriller, crime, detective stuff. Yeah, I like Dean Koontz. Yeah. Hi, Backlash Fisherman. How are you? Yeah, I like Dean Koontz too. I've got a couple of Dean Koontz books in there somewhere, but I also have stuff on my Kindle. So, I mean, I'm not going to give myself a hard time about how many actual physical books I haven't read, because I still do a lot of reading, even if it's not a book I hold in my hands. If someone else writes it, does that make it a narrative? I don't know. See, I don't know what that's called. I think this is just a thing for some of these series of books, or like maybe after an author passes away. Let's say like a James Bond movie, okay? James Bond, maybe could have starred the same person as James Bond until he got too old to do it, and then another actor comes in to be James Bond, but it's still James Bond. It's still based on the Ian Fleming stories that started the James Bond series. So I'm thinking that's kind of how this book situation is. That it's still Jesse Stone, but it's other people are helping to make the stories. Yeah. Again, I don't know what might have happened to my Kindle because I don't remember. It's been a long time ago. And the grandkids were over and they were bored and they needed something to do. So the youngest at the time, I gave him my Kindle. I think I had, picture books and stuff on it. and he just enjoyed it so much. So I let him take it home. This is my grandson Asher, who has neurofibromatosis. I don't know if you're familiar with that condition. Um, he's doing great, but he had a lot of developmental delays and things early on, and didn't even speak for a long time. All related to that. I don't know enough about the disease myself to say how that connects, but I certainly enjoyed watching him engage with something and interact and enjoy whatever it was himself, even if he couldn't read yet, even if he couldn't talk about what he was reading. Uh, yeah, I don't have Kindle Unlimited again right now, but partly because again I have so many books already on my Kindle, and so many hardcover books here that I haven't read. Oh, I wanted to go through my stack again. Yeah, I have multiple copies of Stranger in a Strange Land. Oh, here's another Robert B. Parker. I liked that one. And this is also Jesse Stone. And then there's another Robert B. Parker. It might be the first Robert B. Parker book I wrote. It was called Hugger Mugger. And the reason I bought that book, well, it had to do with racehorses. It was somebody had like killed a racehorse, and that was the crime that they were looking into. But that name Hugger Mugger is the name of a board game that I have here that I've had for probably 25 or 30 years. And the kids and I used to play it. I've talked about this game before too, and it's different categories. There's a spelling bee category, and a word jumble category, and a vocabulary category, and a fill in the blank category, like the early bird gets the blank. And I don't know what you call it, like acronyms. You have to say, what does, NCAA stand for or something. And so as you're spinning the little wheel and moving around the board, you have to answer those questions to advance, with the objective being to land in these specific spots where if you get the question right in that spot, you get to see one letter of a secret word that like will end the round as soon as somebody guesses what the word is. And so that game, Hugger Mugger, has just always had a lot of good memories associated with it. So when I found a book called Hugger Mugger, I had to buy it. This is a book that, okay, so I've been known to buy a book, I've already told you, just because read Hugger Mugger by Robert B. Parker, Erica. I've been known to buy lots of books just because they had a cover that really intrigued me. So this book, this cover, the big picture, see how that's got that little cutout thing there? That's without the jacket. And then there's, then you put the jacket on. And this was a good book. I'd never heard of Douglas Kennedy till I happened to buy this book because I just thought that was a neat idea on the cover there. But it was a good book. Again, it's another crime book, and this man, and he befriends, or he and this lady become friends, and then they have to try to get away from somebody that's trying to take them out. And I liked it a lot. I can't even remember exactly why I liked it a lot, but I really liked that book. So when I came across it looking for books to share with you guys, I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about that one, even though I can't remember a lot of specifics. But I also don't want to spoil anything, so I don't want to tell you too much about anything that I've already read, so that if you want to check one of them out, you won't be disappointed because you already knew what I told you. So just forget that part I read out of Apaches. Now, again, so mostly I read crime, detective, mystery, thriller type stuff. But I also, every now and then, I don't remember why I brought this book in. Oh, because it's Robert B. Parker. There's so many books, y'all. This is a Spencer novel. So in addition to Jesse Stone, he has a whole series for, what's Spencer's first name? Oh, it's not telling me. Okay, so I don't remember what his first name is. I haven't read as many of these, but this is another Robert B. Parker series based on another recurring character and storyline. But I also do, I read some sci-fi. I don't read a lot of sci-fi. I don't read as much sci-fi as someone might think I read because I love science fiction. I love science fiction movies, UFOs, and interplanetary stuff, and travel, and some of my favorite TV shows are, sci-fi, supernatural kind of stuff. But I don't read as much of that as even I might think I would read. But I do like um, fantasy stuff every now and then. And I don't mean like I watched Game of Thrones on HBO, loved it. But I don't think I've read any of the Game of Thrones books. I don't think I have. Let's see. We got some more comments here. Oh, wait. Let's see. Let's go to, I'll come back to you, Erica. So, Matt says, I found I like A.J. Rivers on Kindle. Oh, I got to look that up. Murder mystery books. Yes, then I'm going to have to look that up. That's just what I love the most is, not always murder, but a lot of the books are about murders. Okay, let's see. Erica, I think as a kid I read every Walter Farley and Margaret Henry book. Why do I remember her name? Margaret Henry. What did she write? I don't have a copy. Oh, yes, somewhere I have a copy of another one of my all-time favorite children's books, and it has been made into either a movie or a mini series or a. Let's see. I love many genres: westerns, crime, mystery, some sci-fi, fantasy, magic, misty, brightly, or brighty. I'll have to look her up. Um, so I won't tell you what that other book is that I just remembered I really love. And again, it's one that I read to my kids. I think it's on the banned books list now, so kids can't read it. I don't remember why, but it's absurd. That's just absurd to me. But I am a huge fan of Charles DeLint. Um, he has the most magical, healing style of writing. So this is probably the first Charles DeLint that I read. And initially, I think I only bought it because it was on the bargain shelf at Barnes and Noble for like $1.99. It was like it was such a low price that I thought, okay, I mean, it's worth $1.99 to try it out. Oh, I loved it. Oh, I loved it. It's, there's some, uh, a lot of sweetness, but a lot of sadness sometimes, a lot of animals working together, and animals that can talk, and animals that interact with people. And so I love it. And then this is another Charles DeLint. And then I have one or two on my Kindle that I've read, but I don't know of a lot of other fantasy. I mean, I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, huge Lord of the Rings fan, but I had never read the Lord of the Rings books until the first movie came out. And maybe that was to my advantage because I know there were people, I would read stories of people that were really disappointed because the movie did something different than they did it in the book. But since I saw the movie first, then I read the book. Well, then it didn't matter what they'd done in the movie. I just was transported in the books. Like, that's another one that I read every 10 years or so now. It's about time to read it. And I just think there is something beyond. What word do I want here? I don't want to say magical, but I guess that would work. There's something beyond magical about Tolkien. Like, I think he's a one in a million authors to be able to create the places and the people and the stories and the languages used in his work. Now, I read the Silmarillion also, and it's a little bit different style. It's a lot heavier, and but it gives you a lot of background. So if you really want to learn about, like do a deep dive into Middle Earth and the advent of elves and dwarves and hobbits and all of that, read the Silmarillion. We had cats when we first moved here to Rich Cat Ranch. We had three cats, our grand cat Oreo, but then we had my longtime cats. They were about to turn 12, Eomer and Baru. A lot of people thought Baru's name came from Aunt Beru from the Star Wars series, Anakin's aunt, but it was for Beruthiel, the queen of cats, that I learned about reading the Silmarillion. So, yeah, Tolkien is a master at storytelling and just literary creation. So, I mean, I didn't bring that book out here, but I'll put my 2 cents worth in now about Tolkien. Here's some more on this is Marguerite. Is this Margaret Henry? That sounds so familiar to me. Oh, you love Tolkien too. We have so much in common. We got to meet someplace for coffee somewhere sometime, Erica. I don't remember where you are, but that might be worth a road trip. Yeah. So, some authors, they're just in a category of their own. Tolkien is one of them. And I haven't read a lot of Stephen King. I've read Desperation. That might be the only Stephen King I've read. And I don't even know if he was using the name Stephen King when he wrote that one. That's very early. It was something like something Bachman. It was written under a different name, but it was Stephen King. And it was kind of hard. I've read a couple Stephen Kings, but I think that's the first one I read. And I remember, and this is very Stephen Kingish, that as I'm reading the book, he switches so much between something that happened before and then present day and then something that's coming and then you go back to something that happened before and then you go to something that's coming again and then you come back to present day. And I remember really taking a while to get into the rhythm of, oh, now we're here, because at first it was very disorienting for me. But it's part of why his storytelling is so effective, because there's the whole world. You're you have information from so many other places besides what's really happening at the moment, and it makes everything just so much more satisfying. I just can't remember what the other book or books are that I've read of his. So he's like not my favorite author, but again, unbelievably gifted. And obviously, a lot of his books have been turned into movies, and a lot of those movies have been hit movies, and for good reason. But pay attention to that. If you watch one of the movies or you read one of the books, see if you experience that same thing where you have to kind of get into the rhythm of, oh, where are we going now? Oh, okay, here. Oh, that's how that connects to that. So, um, let's see. This is, yes, Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were very good friends, which is interesting to me because I don't know a lot about C.S. Lewis. And I don't think I've read any C.S. Lewis, but if I understand correctly or remember correctly, he was a devout Christian and wrote from a Christian perspective, right? And I don't think Tolkien had any religious affiliation, if I remember right. And so, because that's what I'm thinking I know about them, I've always been intrigued at how close their friendship was, because everything I've read about their relationship, they were very close friends and saw a lot of things the same way, but on a big fundamental level, maybe not so much. Uh, yeah, Stephen King. It can be. You have to get oriented. You have to accept that that's how it's being written. Then you just can't get locked into any timeline or any storyline, because you got to understand that there's so many elements that are going to come to play at the end when everything is figured out or fixed or killed off or whatever, and it all makes beautiful sense. That's a gift. I mean, there's great writers. Again, D.H. Lawrence, he just writes the story. It's just straight through. You might get a little background or a little backstory about, why somebody did something or said something or why things are like they are now. But it's still a very linear thing, and you don't have to keep up with where you are in the historic timeline of these characters or the story. Uh, and yet he's still a beautiful storyteller. So you don't have to be that uh, elaborate like Stephen King is to still pull it off. I don't think There's a lot of movies I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen this movie. Don't ask me why. When I did my part one of my Rockin' Through the 80s Guess Name That Tune series of music that just premiered on Tuesday this week, y'all please check that one out. It's not performing quite as well as the 70s did, which may just mean that people don't enjoy the 80s music as much as they enjoyed the 70s music. But I admitted that when we got to a couple of songs that came from the Dirty Dancing movie, I've never seen that movie. And Footloose is on the is among the mix of songs that came up. I've never seen that movie, and I love Kevin Bacon. I think I first saw Kevin Bacon in the first Friday the 13th movie. Was he in the first Friday the 13th movie? I think that's where I know Kevin Bacon from one of the very first Friday the 13th movies. Uh, you're in Mississippi. Oh, where are you in Mississippi? I lived in Gulfport for 4 years. Maybe we had talked about this. Are you up closer to Jackson? I lived in Petal when I first got out there, and then I found a house like right on the beach, right across the street from the beach, and lived there. Yeah, maybe we'll have to plan a road trip. I need a vacation. I need to get in the car and drive somewhere. Um, I think that's all the books I brought out to talk to you about now. I'll keep you posted on this newest Jesse Stone, Robert B. Parker that I'm reading. I know I'm going to love it. What a beautiful thing. I already know I'm going to like it. Maybe I won't like something that happens in the story, or maybe I'll meet a character that I don't really care for, but I'm going to like it because I like that style of writing. I like the crime genre. Uh, Erica and I met, as a matter of fact, through Peter Tragos' channel because we're both true crime junkies that, keep up with these wacky court cases and stuff that have been featured on YouTube over the years. Let's see here. Clive Staples Lewis, 1898 to 1963, was one of the intellectual giants of the 20th century and arguably one of the most influential writers of his day. I don't know why I've never read any of him. Maybe because, again, my understanding is that he writes a lot of like religious stuff, Christian stuff, and I don't read that. He was a fellow and tutor in English literature at Oxford University until 1954, when he was unanimously elected to the chair of medieval and Renaissance literature at Cambridge University. Wow. Well, there's more to him then than religious writing, that's for sure. I did have some images I wanted to share with you. So here comes I just found some memes that talk about reading, the importance of reading and literature. And here's one of them. Why can't I show it? Okay, let me take myself. So that's a quote by, I wish it would let me show. Oh, it does. Okay, so let's do it this way. There we go. That's by George R.R. Martin, who is the author of the Game of Thrones books. I mean, I'm sure he's written other stuff, but he's in a league with Tolkien as far as stories and settings and characters, and but his is so much more graphic and violent and deviant at times. But again, I loved the show. And let's see, here's another quote. This is by Roald Dahl. So please, oh please, we beg, we pray, go throw your TV set away, and in its place you can install a lovely bookcase on the wall. And when you read that first one, and then you think about how reading has been replaced by, handheld devices and TV and streaming and just stuff that you look at and someone else does all the speaking and storytelling, you don't have to really put any effort in anymore. They just go kind of hand in hand. You don't have to burn books to destroy a culture. Just get people to stop reading them. This is Ray Bradbury, author of Fahrenheit 451. I have read that book. I do like Ray Bradbury. I think it's Ray Bradbury that also wrote a big batch of short stories. The Illustrated Man is one of them. The Illustrated Man has been featured on a compilation, some kind of anthology series on TV. They did a story of that. Is The Moon is a Harsh Mistress? Is that Ray Bradbury? So I've read some Ray Bradbury. Again, he's sci-fi. He's considered strictly sci-fi, and I love it. And here's a nice little Stephen King quote for us. Books are a uniquely portable magic. Is that beautiful or is that beautiful? And isn't that true? A magic, it transports you to a different place, a different time. You meet people that you would not meet if it weren't for the book that you're in. Um, anyway, so I thought I'd share those with you. I've got some banners here with a few more quotes. This really spoke to me. Until I feared I would lose it, I never loved to read. One does not love breathing. Wow, I wish reading was that important to everybody. It makes me want to read more when I consider, you know, things like that. I think I have a few more of those. You can never get a cup of tea large enough or a book long enough to suit me. That's by C.S. Lewis. Makes me want a cup of hot tea. Oh, and here's another one. It's kind of a funny one. I find television very educating. Every time somebody turns on the set, I go into the other room and read a book by the late great Groucho Marx. And then my last little banner quote here. Think before you speak. Read before you think. There's a big piece of the puzzle missing with a lot of people. That's by Fran Lebowitz. And that just really touches again on the importance of reading. Not everyone can travel all over the world. Not even everyone can travel all around their city, or, maybe they got a health issue. Maybe they have very little money. Maybe they have agoraphobia or some kind of emotional thing that makes it uncomfortable for them to be out and around people or in new places. But you can read and you can go more places and understand more things and learn more things and get a bigger perspective through reading than you can by doing a lot of those things. So read a book, pick a book. Again, I would love for us to at some point talk about uh, picking a book together, and everybody get a digital copy or go get a hard copy, or by whatever means you can acquire one, and we'll all read it, and maybe we'll say, let's read the first X number of pages or the first X number of chapters, and then we'll do a book club where we come back and in the chat we can chat about what we got out of it and the best parts or the crazy parts. I'd be happy to have you come up on screen. That would be super fun with me. Come up on screen and we talk together on the screen. I can see you, a lot of you. So I've seen Matt, because Matt has a channel. I don't think I've ever seen you, Erica. That'd be awesome to see you. Oh, I left the comments to do my banners, and now I've left a lot of comments unread. Let's see. Okay. I wanted to show that quote. Mere Christianity, Out of the Silent Planet, The Great Divorce, The Screwtape Letters, and the University Acknowledged Classics in the Chronicles of Narnia. Oh, yeah, he's the Chronicles of Narnia. I never saw that movie, but I think that book would be something I would really enjoy reading. So I've never seen Erica. I've seen Sue. I know Sue was here at the early part of the stream. Martin has much different. Yeah. Again, I just think they're kind of in the same category just because of the vastness of the stories and the characters and the differences between places and people and timelines and storylines and stuff. But he's just so graphic and violent and dark. And I mean, I know Lord of the Rings had some dark stuff in it, but it's overcome. It's, there's more good in it than bad. Yeah, I haven't read any of them, but I sure liked that series. Well, I sure did like that series. But let's see. I can't get my touch screen to work on this laptop today. Oh, yeah. Oh, see, I can't. Oh, well, I guess I could have been looking at the quotes when I was showing you those memes, but so yeah, Martin's quote. What a great quote. Live 1,000 lifetimes. Get around much. It's getting easier and easier and easier, but I still can't figure out why my touchscreen's not working on the laptop today. Oh, and I did want to point out to you, I'm sure you've already noticed, that you are seeing a different part of my house. This is in our living room, and it's just the west wall in the living room. So here to my left is the TV, and the back door is right here. And then across from me, well, still on my left, but a little bit further down is the fireplace. Then we have a curio cabinet right in front of me, all kinds of knickknacks on the wall. Oh, you know what? That's the beauty of a laptop, isn't it? Y'all can see my house. But I just thought this little section of the living room would be ideal for talking about books. We've got some art here. I can't remember where we found this. I think it was someplace down in Cleveland, some furniture store, and they were going out of business or something. And I just love that picture because it's like barn. It's like in a barn. There's a wagon wheel and the stool, but then look at the musical instruments. So it really spoke to me. And then this cow picture, I worked at full time, part of the time for Pier 1 Imports starting in 2004 until they closed their doors for good in 2019. And so when the store, was going out of business, or when did I get this one? I don't, I don't think this was from the store I was at when the company closed, but I do think that one of the stores I was in, because I managed a couple of stores. I can't remember which one this was, though. I got Richard that for his birthday one year, though, because it was marked down a lot. And I mean, it's just a precious picture, right? Just a precious picture. And then just our little knickknacks there on the console table. And there's another guitar that I moved to get some stuff out of the way. Uh, so that the dogs would have a space to go beside me. Because ordinarily there's a part of the sectional couch right here to my right, but I moved that out of the way so that dogs can still come and go to their water bowl. And so that's a little bit more of my house. I just thought it made sense. Let's show you some more of me and my life here, since I'm talking about something more than I usually talk about in live streams. But if you haven't figured it out yet, I love reading. I love books. I think maybe twice in the hundreds and hundreds of books I've read. And again, these are books that I bought them because they were marked down really far on at Barnes and Noble or whatever. And so why not? And I can't remember the name of the one because only one specifically comes to mind where I read the book and I toughed it out and I made myself stick with it. And then I wished I hadn't wasted 1 second reading it when it was over. It did not resolve. You're just left wondering, questioning, scratching your head at the end. And the main character in it was just annoying. Oh my gosh, the most just annoying person, full of himself. So it really didn't have any redeeming qualities at all. I don't know why that person wrote that book, but I'm so happy to say that of all the other hundreds and hundreds of books that I've just bought on a whim because they were really cheap or because they had a neat cover or because the jacket, the little synopsis inside the jacket at least made it sound like it would be interesting. There's only been that one or two that I read through them. And that Apache's book, let me tell you again, it was so slow for me getting going that other book was flashing in my mind. I'm thinking, oh, just don't tell me if I stick with it that I'm going to wish I had never even picked this book up. So at least that one didn't turn out that way. Hey, Jerry, how are you? Are you guys still here or have you left yet? When is the cruise? Oh gosh, yeah, that's my fantasy house. So my fantasy house has a number one, the floor to ceiling bookcases with the ladders and everything that you have to use to get to the top shelves. And again, a whole room where every wall is a floor to ceiling bookcase, and it's got uh, the ladder that that's on a rail that goes around so you can get to the books up high. And it also has an observation deck on the roof where there's a big telescope, like a sunroom kind of a concept. Um, I don't care about a swimming pool. I don't care about a fountain or anything like that. I want a library and an astronomy room, sunroom, astronomy room. Uh, till the 20, oh, still here till the 22nd. Okay. I can't keep track of, I'm doing good to keep track of my own schedules. You flying to what, like Seattle or something? Does it leave out of Seattle? I know I would enjoy a pool if I had a pool, but I would not enjoy keeping up with a pool. And we've got dogs, and I think they would probably want to spend time in the pool, which to me just means there would even be that much more to keep up with a pool. And I would not want to have to pay someone to come and do pool maintenance for us. But I know that if you have a pool, you pretty much have to have somebody that comes and does pool maintenance for you. So I like floating around on the water. I love the ocean and the beach. I hate being underwater. I'm terrified of being underwater. I don't know why. It's the only thing I'm afraid of. I think that's safe to say. It is the only thing that I have a phobia about, being underwater. Not like drowning. I mean, what a horrible, horrible way to go, but just being underwater. I would never want to scuba dive. I almost passed out from hyperventilating just snorkeling the first time I went snorkeling. Because when you're snorkeling, you may as well be underwater because everything you see, you're looking at everything underwater. So, okay, Seattle. Yeah, do you do scuba stuff? Did you do any kind of like interesting underwater stuff in the military? Okay, so of the books I shared with you today, we'll just do a little thing in the chat. If you were here to see some of these books today, let me know which one sounds most interesting to you, which one you think you might look into getting. And I did want to tell you about also. Let me get to my phone because I want to remember. I'm signed up for a couple of book discount. They're obviously they're okay. Here's one here. Obviously, they are, well, there it is. How do I make this big? It's all digital, but Chirp is one of them. Let me see if there's like a website. Does it say? Where's the website? Oh, let's just click on here and see. Chirpbooks.com. I'm going to go. Let me open up a window and let's look at that. Okay, and let me share this page with you. Like I've bought whole sets of book series through this Chirps thing, and sometimes we'll get, and then you put them on your Kindle. You download them and then you read them on your Kindle, whatever your reading device is. Okay, yeah, underwater welding, deep sea. Yeah, I just thought it might be possible that you did something underwater in the Navy, right? Those would kind of go together. Let me do a share screen and we'll look at this Chirp page together. And then I got to remember what the other one is called. Okay. So you can I don't think I can interact with it here though, can I? No. Oh, how did it go full screen? That's weird. I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm looking for the actual window. Okay, let's get back to Jerry here. I asked Jerry if he did anything underwater in the military. He was a welder. 165 feet. Yeah. See, that makes me anxious just to think about being that far underwater. I can't. All I know is my mom used to tell a story that when I was like, I had just learned to sit up. So I'm just a little baby, 5 or 6 months old. And she had me in the bathtub. And then she, for whatever reason, maybe that was one of the indicators that things were going to be bad. She left me in the bathroom by myself and she left the room. And then she came back and I was underwater. I had fallen over because I'm just a little baby who had just learned to sit up. But I mean, I was okay. But I always wonder, is that why I'm so afraid of being underwater? I don't remember that experience, but I remember her telling that story a lot. So let's see. Let's get to this. Chirp. Okay, so I'm already on Chirp, but you can sign up and get emails. They don't email you a lot. I mean, you might get 3 or 4 a week, I think. And then you can just look at. Oh, well, let's see if I can sign in. Oh, it is there. Okay, and let's see. Let's see if we can just get a few examples. And you can search by. Let's see. Let's look at mystery. Oh, mystery. Oh, well, mystery and audiobooks. Okay, whatever. I guess I'm looking for it. It thinks I want a title. No, this isn't what I'm looking for because these are deals for you. Okay, yeah, this is closer to what I'm thinking of. So look at these books. Look at the prices of these books. So there's Agatha Christie for $1.99. Karen Slaughter. I've read some Karen Slaughter, or maybe I've listened to some Karen Slaughter audiobooks. But I'm telling you, sometimes, so I get emails from them, and there are even some books that are free. What was the one I read? I have a book on my Kindle. I would have to go back and find it on my Kindle. And they're just, rock bottom, inexpensive. Let's see. Sister friend was a Navy diver. I mean, I didn't hear a calling to be in the military anyway, but I would sure not have gone into the Navy or done anything that might up the odds that I would have to spend any time underwater. In a submarine, I mean, that'd be neat to go into a submarine, but I don't think I could even process the concept of being in a submarine under the water. Oh my gosh. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that. I guess I would enjoy that, but it would just be a reminder to me of where I was. Thank you, Kevin. Anyway, so chirpbooks.com is one of the email things I'm signed up for. And here's the other one. I got my emails today. Let me see if I can find that. Again, this is one where there's a lot of. I wish I could just share this email. I don't know how to just pull up this email because I don't have Oh, maybe I can get to my email here. No, I'm not going to do that. We're just going to go to. Let me see if I can find the. Well, you know what? Let me just click on one of these. Robin reads. Oh, it takes me to Amazon. So when I click on the actual uh, book title, it takes me to Amazon because you download the Robin Reads books from Amazon. But let me find. Okay, I'm going to go to robinreads.com. And see if that's the right page. Oh, well, that didn't work. Yeah, there it is. Hang on. Let's show you this one. These are so great. Okay, so let's share that screen. So that was chirpbooks.com and now robinreads.com. And again, you can sign up so that you get the little notifications about what the deals are. And this Robin Reads one is the one where I have bought like whole series, like a 4-book series for 99 cents, or I've gotten a book for free. Look at that. Presley's Christmas Catch is free. Free. Look at these free books. And there's no catch to it. You just click on it. Again, you click on it. Let's click this one. Takes me to Amazon where I can download it. Read for free. And if I download it, then it puts it again on, it puts it for me, it puts it on my Kindle. So if you enjoy reading, check out one or both of those. I mean, usually I don't get anything because I got so many books. I think I have my Kindle up. Let me see. I think I got my Kindle up here too. Oh, yeah, because I did want to talk to you about another of my favorite things before we end this show. But let me go to my Kindle. So, you can download Kindle on a computer, on a phone. It's on the laptop here, obviously, now. And a lot of these are the books that I've gotten for free or for 99 cents or whatever from one of those Robin Reads or Chirp books. Whole sets. Like I think I got this whole set for like 99 cents. Maybe it won't be any good. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Oh, is that the one? This might be the one I was telling you that I think I've already read all of them though. But that Roseland, that might be the one I'm thinking of. Look at this. The Lou Fleener mystery series. And again, I got it for like 99 cents. But here's this has become one of my favorite authors. Oh, what did I do with that? Okay, it's right there. So let me share this screen with you. I talked about this. Don't apologize for being late. My streams are always come and go, like a come and go shower. You can just pop in. It may just mean that if you're interested in what we might have talked about before you got here, then you just have to go back and watch it when the show is over. Of course, I had a blast today because I'm talking about books and reading. But let me share now what has become one of my favorite genres. And part of the appeal, this author is a Marine Corps veteran. So that really excited me. Oh, well, where did it go? That's not it. That's me. Okay, I got to see what I did with it. Books. Okay, so why can't I find that? Oh, is that it right there? Okay, because it's in this window. Well, let's see if we can make this work. Get this out of the way. Well, why is that not working? That's not working. I made it work earlier when I was playing with it. I just got to figure out how to do it now. Okay, so I'm not on the same. I pulled that tab out so that it's a standalone tab. But I really want to tell you about this guy because I love his books. Okay, let's remove this. Stop screen. Let's try this again. Share screen. Oh, here we go. It's just a different way I had to do it. Okay. Mark Tufo. So somewhere here there was an about the author. About. Mark Tufo was born in Boston, Massachusetts. He attended UMass Amherst, where he obtained a BA and later joined the United States Marine Corps. He was stationed in Parris Island, South Carolina, 29 Palms, California, and Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. He lives in Maine with his wife, 3 kids, and their 2 English bulldogs. And I am a huge fan. Come on. of his books, the Zombie Fallout series. There are now 23 books in this series. I have books 1 through 4. I've read all of book 1, part of book 2, and then I'm just downloading on Kindle. Now, these are not books that I'm getting through that chirp reads or anything. Uh, so I'm having to, but I mean, they're still probably like $4 or $5 on Amazon, and it's not it's not what I thought zombie fiction was going to be. So I have a friend that's really into zombie fiction, and she said to me, and I liked that Walking Dead TV show, and she said to me one time, "Oh, you ought to read zombie fiction. You would like that." And I thought, I don't know, I don't know. I love these stories. This guy is great, and you love these characters. You root for these characters, and it's if you're even slightly interested, I just totally recommend it. Oh, look, he does have other books, but the Zombie Fallout series is how I know him. And I'm making my way through with the hope of one day being able to say I've read all 23 of the books. But we'll see if I have time left in the world to do that. I've still got this whole other room full of books that I haven't read yet. So, Zombie Fallout, Mark Tufo, go support a Marine veteran. And again, let me know if you can't think of it now while you're here in the chat. Go back later and then come back and leave me a comment, which is always appreciated, by the way. And let me know which of the books we talked about today is familiar to you, or which of them is your favorite or on your favorites list. Let me know what your favorites are too. I'd love to discover whether or not we have some overlap on some of the books that we really like. And then again, let me know if you'd be interested in doing a regular, like I'm just thinking once a month or so, because I don't want to take up every Friday doing book club. Partly because again, I don't have a whole lot of time to read, so I want to have enough time to have read some stuff to have more to share with you between streams. But let me know if you'd be interested in us picking a book, like maybe we could narrow it down to a genre, and then I can look at like a trending titles list somewhere, and we can vote on the community tab for one of 3 or 4 books, however many options I can put there, of something that you'd be interested in reading and you'd be willing to get a copy of it somewhere. And then we read it, and once the title is selected, then I can kind of promote the next stream by saying, we're going to talk about this book. Let me know if that's something you want to do, because that's what I pictured when I first decided I wanted to do a book club on the channel. Again, I love reading. I want y'all to know what motivates me and excites me, and reading is among those things. So why not have that on the channel too? But I'll wait to hear from y'all in the comments if you want to do that. I think it's probably safe to say enough of us like mysteries or, thriller mystery type things that maybe that would be a good genre to start. And I mean, there's always new books coming out that are getting all kinds of great reviews, and, let me know. I don't think I have anything else for you today. I'm excited about the books I was able to share. Again, I could do this every stream. I could do this where I could come out with this number of books and just talk to you about why I love them and why they were enjoyable to read and where I was in my life when I read it. And yeah, I mean, I'm already my brain is just racing now. I'm just thinking of all these other titles. I'm thinking, oh, I should have told you about this one. Oh, I wish I had found this book. But again, I got to go through some boxes and stuff too. And then let me know if you know of a good deal on some bookcases, because I really do need some good, heavy, sturdy bookcases so that I can showcase these again in my the spare bedroom where I have all these books out. Next up, Richard and I will be next up Tuesday night next week, premiere of part 2 of my Rockin' Through the 80s Name That Tune Song Challenge. I'm only using 5-second clips this time because YouTube just doesn't support creators who want to get other people enthused about the music of the past. so that they can say to these big music companies, nope, this falls under fair use. You can't claim the money from their video when they're only using 15 seconds of a song, so that people will hear something that might be new to them and want to go check it out, or so that they can learn something about the artist or the song that they didn't know before they watched the video. So until YouTube figures that out, you can help support the channel by watching the premiere that will be scheduled for Tuesday next week at 8 p.m. I'm just still editing the video, so that's why you don't see it on the page already. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to edit these kind of videos. And then next up, Richard and I will be back for Table Talk on Thursday next week. And then I'll have something probably else to do. Southern Mama here on YouTube, friend of mine. She's become a real life friend of mine. She and I have been talking for about a year about doing a true crime or court case recap kind of a podcast, because that's how I met her, also through Peter's channel. And we always are texting each other and letting each other know about crazy stuff we just heard about, or something we just watched on the news or on YouTube. So I want to get her involved and do a little podcast. Again, it'd probably just be like a once a month thing, or not an every week thing. So I need to get with her and get that started. And I'm always taking suggestions. If there's something you guys want me to cover, if there's a show you want me to put together, or a topic you want me to explore and share information about with you, I'd love for you to let me know what it is. So thank you to all who were here to watch with us live. I certainly think these kind of streams are more fun if you can be here when it's really happening, because I'm, just because of what I'm talking about. But thanks also to those of you who might be catching this after the stream ended as part of the rewatch crew. I still would love to get your comments. Please give the stream a like and share it with your friends, if you will. Obviously, I'll know how often I might want to do this, or whether or not I even want to keep doing it, if based on how many people watch it. I mean, that's what YouTube looks at to decide whether they're going to recommend it, is how many people watched it, how many people liked it, how many people commented on it, how many people shared it, all the things. So please do all the things. And if you're not already a channel member, I'd love for you to subscribe. Here's your golden opportunity to subscribe. There's lots of other stuff you can learn about me and our little homestead and all of our animals and all the things that, make up my life. We're not very interesting people. We were just talking about that, because we never go anywhere because we can't. We're too tied down. But I've been around long enough to know a thing or two and have some interesting stuff to share with people. So consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. And check out the other channels that were represented here today. Butler Family Farm, Jerry and Susan, personal friends of ours, and sort of like family, because they adopted one of our foster dogs. I can't say that about any other person I know from YouTube, but for me, it's a very special connection that even our rescue work, is a part of our relationship with Jerry and Susan. So go check out Butler Family Farm. Help them inch their way toward 100,000 subscribers, because that's right around the corner for them. Check out Kevin at Tuber Chat. If you are a new YouTuber, you're thinking about doing YouTube, check out Tuber Chat. That is a great resource for connecting with other content creators, getting tips, getting support in people, teaching you how to do things, in watching videos if you're new and you need some watch hours, and in just growing your YouTube family. It's an amazing opportunity for that, and it's a fun time. Great, fun, busy, hop in chat every time Kevin is live, and he does everything he can do to support and promote the members of the channel. So check that out. Let's see, Bud and Sue at the Bud Files. Sue was here earlier. Check out the Bud Files. Anything history or geography kind of related, they are my go-to. They cover so much interesting stuff that I've never even heard of. They visit places that are new to me. You will learn something new, I guarantee, in every visit, in every video of theirs that you watch. So check out the Bud Files here on YouTube. Let's see who else was here. Matt at where did he go? Backlash Fisherman. He may not still be here, but Matt at Backlash Fisherman, check him out. Especially if you are interested in fishing. But even if you're not interested in fishing, I can watch him fish and virtually, vicariously fish by watching Matt. And he knows a lot about fishing, and he's got a precious little family. His wife also has a YouTube channel here, so you can learn all about them by checking him out. Let me see who else might have been here. Who else was here that I forgot? Did I forget someone else that was here? If I missed you and you were here, apologies, but I have such amazing YouTube friends, content creator friends, and just people that I've met through other channels on YouTube. Again, Erica and I met at Peter Tragos' family, or Peter Tragos' channel. There's a channel to check out. And be safe, be happy, be well. I hope the weather is cooperating where you are. The Perseids started yesterday. So I did go out last night, but I was too tired to stay up too late. And I didn't go out in the middle of the night like I thought I would. So the weekend is here, and I just might be spending the night out in my backyard watching the sky. So the Perseids, my favorite time of year for stargazing. And it'll be an excuse to get my new telescope out too, and find some stuff that I haven't really spent a lot of time on yet since I got it. So put that on your calendar, and I'll see you next week for a premiere and a live stream or two. And I'll be watching and waiting for your comments to let me know what books you might be interested in reading together. Otherwise, I'll just see you for another book club stream at some point and go over some more of the titles that are on my favorites list. I love you all. Again, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends. Well, I got to get everything set up before I get out of here. So, for some reason, when I'm pressing the buttons on StreamYard, my opposite mouse key. Oh, that's what it is. I must be accidentally hitting the section of the touchpad that brings up that that menu. The opposite. I call it the opposite mouse key. But I'll see you guys on the next one. Love you.